back to my channel. I am so excited that today what I have for you is my tips and tricks to my morning routine for my spiritual growth. I'm going to share with you guys what it is I do on a daily basis. Now, when I say daily basis, I mean daily basis. Yes, there are times where I don't actually stick to this schedule. It just varies, but I try my best. It is one of those things that I stick to my routine as much as possible because it's what is important to me. And that's the whole beauty of creating a routine, a ritual, where it aligns to your true divine purpose and your own spiritual growth and evolution. For those of you that are new, welcome to Eileen into Spirit. My name is Eileen, your host. I am a spiritual advisor and an intuitive coach. I empower women to embrace and embody their true divine essence so that they can stand and own their own power. I provide you with guidance and wisdom every week right here on this channel. We appreciate every single one of you. We welcome you to the channel. Thank you for being a part of the Spirit Fam, and all we can do is ask that you please subscribe, like, and share. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. As all my tips and tricks of what I do, that I've created my own morning ritual of how I like to live my day and help me grow spiritually and welcome in the new every single day. So first things first, when I wake up in the morning, I'm usually one of those people that I am very chipper in the morning. I usually love to talk. I love to sort of make people laugh. That's just me. I'm a morning person. I can't help it. We always have those people that are not morning people. And so my advice to you is get up however it's most comfortable for you. But the first thing I like to do is usually when I sit up and I wake up first thing in the morning is I love to stretch. And usually when I'm sitting there, I'm stretching to the left or to the right. And I always sort of end up going like this so that I can actually just sort of stretch my body. The next thing I do is I try to drink a full 8 ounces of water. I normally don't drink it out of this, but this is something I usually drink out of throughout the day. I try to drink water because when we sleep at night, we become dehydrated. Believe it or not, we become dehydrated. So I try to drink water first thing in the morning before drinking anything else. Then usually when I'm getting dressed, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting ready, I'm either preparing breakfast, I'm usually talking to God, Spirit, the angels, the ascended masters. I'm one of those strange people that likes to talk out loud. That's just something that I've always done. I don't know why. It's just what always felt natural to me. So depending on what's on my agenda or what I have scheduled for the day, I usually will have a conversation with Spirit and with God while I'm in the midst of doing something and I'm talking out loud and just allowing myself to listen. Or I'll be in here and I will sit in prayer pose and I will say my prayers out loud. I communicate. I have a conversation with God. That's very important to me that I do that. And so if you're ever like visiting, like if you had a camera that would watch me on a day-to-day basis, and if I'm doing something and you see my mouth moving, you see me talking to someone, but there's no one there, that's usually because I'm talking to God. I'm having a conversation with God. Next, I like to do manifestation scripting. And so I have journals for each and everything that I do. This is my manifestation scripting journal. I'm a very visual person. I love things that are very appealing to the eye. And I also like for the images to sort of speak to me and they call out to me, which is why I'm an intuitive reader, because the images themselves speak to me at a very different level. And so this is my manifestation scripting. And manifestation scripting is one of those things that I utilize to help me manifest or create the things that I'm wanting to bring into my life. And it's really like telling a story. And I love being able to just sit here and scribble in here all the things that I'm wanting to bring in. But I do it in a very different way where I'm creating a story day by day. And every day it's really going to be based off of how I'm feeling in that moment. So there might be one day where I'm really focusing on love, being open to love. There might be another day where I'm focusing on financial security. There might be another day where I'm mostly focused on being productive or finding balance. So every day is different, but I utilize it as a way for me to really focus in on what it is my heart is desiring, and I'm creating a story. I'm building a story that I want to make real. And so I make sure that that's something I do every single day. I'm creating my new life of what I am envisioning for myself in my manifestation scripting book. Then I have an affirmations book. Now, it started out as an actual journal that I would, whenever someone would say something really nice to me, like if someone would pay me a compliment, or when someone would say something really kind or really sweet, I would actually take it and I would put it in here. And I started this back in 2015 when I was going through a very rough patch in my life where I was really struggling to find my own significance. I had a lot of self-worth issues. And so this was something that I started doing because I needed to be able to visually see that how people saw me and how my thoughts and my beliefs of who I was didn't really identify with how other people perceived me. So I was utilizing it to sort of help build my confidence in who I was. And then it sort of changed into any beautiful saying, any quote, any motivational quote, inspirational quote, any affirmation that I received, I actually write them down in here. So this is one that I've had since like 2015. And you know, you'll notice that sometimes there are like little images that I actually like cut out and I put in here, and I will actually, if there are certain songs that speak to me, and I'm very much the actual, like I listen to the words in music, in the lyrics, and sometimes I will, write them down. And so I sit here and I, cut things out that stand out to me, that speak to me, and I write down all of my affirmations in this beautiful book. So sometimes when I need a little bit of reassurance, or I need something, or if I happen to just randomly come up with an affirmation on my own, I jot it down in here because I never know when I'm going to need it for someone else. So that is the beauty of this. Sometimes I write in this every single day and sometimes I don't, but it is part of my morning routine. It's what I do. Then after that, I actually do my cards for the day, okay? So every morning, I actually draw cards for myself. And so I used to have an actual like regular spiral notebook where I would sit down and I would draw my cards for the day and I would journal about them. But hashtag this is not sponsored. But I now have this. It's an actual planner, and it's a ritual planner. And what I love about this is that I now get to actually document all of my cards in one location. So I have it for an entire year. And so it has like these 3 little boxes that allows you to put whatever card it is, and then you have space to write down what the card represents to you, or what interpretation you're getting from it. And then at the end of the day, you get to do a reflection of your day, like how those cards really played into your day. And for me, that's really important because I often know as an intuitive coach that a lot of times we go through so many experiences and so many lessons that a lot of times we don't really pay attention to the things that we need to pay attention to. So when I'm drawing my cards, I'm really asking for clarity on bringing something to the forefront that I might not be aware of. So it's really allowing myself to explore what's going on in my subconscious to really bring forward the one thing, whether it's a challenging thing, whether it's something from my past that I might have been neglecting or that I might have refused to look at. Whatever it is, I'm asking it to come to the forefront so that I can focus on it. That's usually the first card that I draw. The second card is, what is the advice that you have for me regarding that challenge or the one thing that I need to be aware of? And I journal about that. And the third card is, what's the outcome? Should I follow the advice? That is how I choose to really see where I am and where I need to grow, where I need to expand, what I need to be aware of. Those are the things that I like to do as an individual to help me grow and further expand. I will tell you that I have always made it a routine for me to draw cards every single day. And the reason why I have this routine is because it's my time for me to connect with myself and to connect with spirit and with God, to be able to be in alignment with what I am truly trying to achieve in my life. We all have a purpose. We all have a mission. We all have things that we love and that we're passionate about and that we enjoy. And for me, having this time for myself is a way for me to honor myself, in this space and in this moment, to give back to myself. Because as an intuitive coach, as an intuitive reader, I am giving to others day in and day out. I am constantly being of service to others. And it's important for me to make sure that I find balance between other people and myself, that I create that same nurturing and that same love and that same care for myself as I give for others. Okay. Now let's talk about growth. Now, those 6 things are things that I do on a routine basis. Now, if I've got a lot going on in a day, there might be days where I don't get to do all of them, and that's okay. I allow myself to be flexible. I used to be really bad about beating myself up for not giving myself that time. But the one thing we have to remember is that we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're not going to follow through all the time. And it's important that we find the balance between doing and being, right? There are days, I will tell you very honestly, there are days where I'm tired. I'm just tired and I feel like I need to rest and I don't want to do anything. And when I'm feeling that way, that's usually a sign for me to just allow myself to be where I'm at and just let everything else go. And so when that happens, I literally do that. I just allow myself to be where I'm at. Whether I decide that I'm just going to lay on the couch and not do anything, that is what I do. I just allow myself to be where I'm at in the moment that I'm in it. And I don't try to force myself to do something that I don't necessarily feel I need to do. Because this ritual, this routine, this morning routine that I have, because I've made it such a habit and I do it every single, I do it so often, I don't really beat myself up for missing a day or 2. Even in those days, I might still have a conversation with God. I might still pray. I might still come do my cards. Or I might still do my manifestation scripting, but I don't beat myself up if I don't do all of the things. And that's what's important. When you are trying to develop a routine or a ritual that is all your own, you want to make sure that you find balance between that. Don't be so hard on yourself if you don't do it on a routine basis. Like when you're first getting started, it's going to take you some time to develop the pattern of doing it routinely. You know, for me, it was really about going through my own spiritual journey and really learning to listen to my own inner guidance and knowing what it was that I needed, what I needed when I needed it. So that's the whole reason why I started doing it. And for me, it was something I look forward to every single day. You know, I would wake up first thing in the morning and that was like the only thing that I could think about. It was like, this is the conversation I'm going to have with God today. And what am I going to learn about myself today? And what do I want to create for myself today? What do I want my future to look like today? So for me, it was exciting. It was thrilling. It was something that I looked forward to. And that's the beauty of it. When you're creating a routine and a ritual where you're honoring yourself, you're making time for yourself. It's part of self-care. That's really what I look at it. I look at it as a part of self-care, which I think is very important and very vital. And I feel that a lot of times we don't do that for ourselves. We have no problem doing it for others. But when it comes to doing it for ourselves, that's usually where we drop the ball because we feel that we just don't have the time. And we don't have the time because it's not a priority to us. And so for me, doing those things in the morning for myself is a priority because I'm honoring myself and recognizing that I'm just as important as the next person that I'm helping. And that if I can't help myself and do the things that I would do for other people for myself, then at some point I might not be able to help someone else, which is what gives me so much joy. So it's important that what I offer to other people, what I give, I also receive, right? That's the whole part of balancing out the giving and the receiving. So I want you to know that that is my ritual. That is my routine. That is in no way saying that you need to do that. You need to find what works best for you. And you need to find how you want, what do you want your routine to look like? What does it look like to you? Do you want to incorporate some of those bits and pieces? Then by all means, do that. Do what sort of sparks that excitement in you, something that you know you're going to look forward to doing every morning because it's going to become part of you. It is part of your essence that you are sort of bringing into your own life. It is the spark within you that you're going to start creating your own spiritual growth and evolution as you go. And it will change. You know, my morning routine didn't always consist of these 6 things. That it's just sort of grown throughout the years, and it's evolved, and it will continue to evolve. The more that I evolve, the more that I grow, the more things will change. But the one thing that has always stayed constant has been drawing cards for myself every single morning. That is something that has never changed. And it's always been 3 cards that I draw. I would get sometimes where I would just draw 1 card, but I felt like, well, that doesn't really tell me much, right? So for me, it's 3. For you, it might just be 1, and that's okay. As I said, this is really about you connecting to your own divine essence, your own essence and spark of who you are, and allowing yourself to listen to what it is that you need in the moment that you need it. So, for growth. So, a lot of times I have clients that really ask me all the time, you know, how do you deal with emotions? How do you deal with fear? How do you deal with worry or concerns? And the truth is, I'm human, guys. I have my own fears. I have my own worries, my own doubts. I struggle with those kinds of emotions just as much as you guys do. And how I deal with them is I journal. I literally journal sometimes every day. Sometimes it's every other day. Sometimes it's once a week. It just depends on what I'm feeling. And this is my journal. And in here, I can tell you, I've only written in this one. And this one I started let me see. This isn't the only journal I have. Trust me when I tell you I have multiple journals going around somewhere. But this is the one I started in 2020. And this is how much I've done. Okay. And I'm sure people probably think, wow, that's not a lot. But I write very big. So for me, it's really about, what I sit down and I journal about. I journal about my fears, my concerns. If I'm triggered from something, if I come into contact with someone that triggers me from something in my past that I've worked through, I journal about it. I want to write it down. I want to get it out on paper. I utilize a lot of the tools that I use for my coaching clients. I utilize them because if I don't know how they work, I wouldn't be able to give them to other people and help them along the way either. A lot of these tools that I use, I provide as tools for my coaching clients. So it's how I know that they work because I use them myself. So I journal whenever I come across any type of fear or I come across any type of emotion that sort of takes me away from the happiness and the joy that you should feel, or the joy that you want. I journal about it because a lot of times it's really about getting it off your chest. I think a lot of times, people just want people to hear them out. They just want to be able to talk to someone about some of their biggest concerns, their biggest fears. They just want someone to hear them out. And for me, it's really about getting it out on paper, because if I can get it out on paper, then I'm not holding on to it. And if I'm not holding on to it, then it's not going to sit here and fester and keep bugging me. And I utilize my journal as a way for me to sort of cleanse out what's going on in here in order for me to make sense of it. I also write down my dreams. If I have dreams when I wake up, now I used to keep the journal next to my bed when I would document my dreams, but now I've gotten to the point where if I wake up from a dream, I get my phone and I just type a note to myself and I type it out, because it's so much easier for me to type it out than it is for me to find something to write with, find the journal, flip to the page. Like for me, it's just so much easier to just open the note, jot it down. Then I just kind of turn my phone, I click the button so it goes dark, and then I lay back down and go back to sleep. Because a lot of times I wake up probably at around 3 a.m., 3:30, around the time when I'm mostly receiving intuitive insight, intuitive guidance. It's usually where a lot of my YouTube video ideas come from. And it's how I process what's going on. So a lot of times when I am literally going through something emotionally, when I'm struggling through something emotionally and I've journaled about it, 9 times out of 10, I will dream something that I will then jot down in my journal, and I will go back and I will read, and I'll have the answer that I was seeking. Like it would make sense to me in a way that it normally would not make sense. And this is why these tools are important, because they help you grow and understand yourself at a much deeper level that you wouldn't be able to understand if you didn't have something to refer to, right? So that is what I use as far as like helping me grow spiritually. All of these tools help me grow. The other things that I do that sort of help me recognize how far I've come and how much I've grown from from a certain time frame is not only do I do daily card draws for myself, but I also do monthly card draws for myself, as well as yearly card draws. And I do new moon and full moon draws for myself every single time. I know it sounds like a lot, but it helps me understand, especially the monthly ones, like the monthly card draws that I do, really help me figure out where I was, and it helps me figure out what I need to be aware of, how I need to really align myself. What do I need to focus on? Is there something that I need to be aware of? And I have always found it to be so on point when I go back. A prime example is I was doing this past December, I did my monthly draw for December. So right before I'm gonna do the next month, I go back and I look at the previous month, and I look and I see, and it never surprises me that when I go back and I see what came out when I actually, journaled about what came through, I literally have so much better recall of, oh my God, that's exactly what happened. And this is what it was referring to. And this is when you have stuff written down, when you can see it on paper, it allows you so much better to be able to see the transition from one space to another. That's how you get to really truly visualize your growth. You get to see how far you've come. My coaching clients, especially because I work with women, and I work primarily a lot with a lot of women who struggle with empathy. And so one of the things I do is I tell them, you get 2 journals, right? One journal is for you to dump all of the negative emotions that you feel, whether it's fear, anxiety, frustration, anger, whatever it is, that's gonna be the journal where you're gonna dump all of those emotions and you're gonna get them off your chest, okay? And then the other journal is gonna be a journal that you're gonna utilize to see your progress. It is your aha journal that allows you to really recognize the synchronicities, the responses that you get from, your own intuition, and really recognizing the growth and how far you've come by really being able to truly see all of the words that you've written down, as far as like, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense. I totally get how, the card that I drew was really telling me that this is what it was going to offer me. And I remember this because of this. And that is the beauty of being able to document these things, because that's how you can see your growth. You see your growth in front of you. The other thing that I do for growth is I meditate. I try very hard to meditate on a daily basis. Now, if you're very new to meditation, I can understand that it would seem very daunting, and I can see and understand that you're like, I just don't have time in the day. You don't need a lot of time to meditate. All it really takes is, if all you have is 5 minutes, then give yourself the 5 minutes. I really like it when people just turn off everything, put your phone on silent, turn off the music, and just sit in silence and listen to yourself breathe for 5 minutes. That truly helps you connect to your own inner guidance system. It helps you connect to breath work. It helps you truly be in a state of listening. Now, when I first started meditating, it was one of those things where I started doing guided meditations, where I would listen to someone guide me through a meditation. Very quickly, I learned that I can't do that. I don't get out. There are some people that can really take guided meditations very well. And then there are some that do so much better by just guiding themselves through a meditation. So starting out with guided meditations was helpful because it forced me to set aside that time for that certain time frame to be able to listen to the whole thing. And then even if I just sat and I listened, I'm actively listening to what the guide is telling me, then I'm still giving myself that time to breathe. The whole purpose of meditation is to disconnect yourself from the physical world, to really allow yourself to hear your thoughts. And a lot of times people feel like when you meditate that you're supposed to get these great epiphanies that automatically come out right away. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. When you're first starting out, it's going to take you some time to develop a habit and a pattern of actively listening to the thoughts and the information that's coming through. A lot of times your insight and your guidance is going to come across to you in your voice. And that's because it's your higher self. It's your higher self that is trying to connect with you. And I have clients that sometimes get very frustrated because they're like, well, my mind keeps wandering off to, my job, or it keeps wandering off to, the frustration and the anger between my parents, or, whatever it might be. That's okay. Allow your mind to wander. But once it starts to wander, allow yourself to focus on that and then bring your awareness back to breath work, which is why I usually like to start my clients in with breath work, because I'm having them focus on their breathing, and that gives their mind something to do. Their mind is focusing on the breathing in and the breathing out, where it sort of prevents them from wandering off to other things that are sort of floating around in their mind. You can start off with 5 minutes. You can start off with 2 minutes. If all you have is 2 minutes, then take those 2 minutes to just sort of reconnect with your body, reconnect with yourself, give yourself a breather. It's really about giving yourself a break, okay? I now meditate at least 30 to 45 minutes a day. There are some days that I don't meditate, and that's okay. I always make sure that I take time for a salt bath every day. And even if that means that I just sit there and I have meditative music playing in the background with my eyes closed, that's still my way of sort of actively listening, and allowing myself to breathe, right? Because I'm mostly focusing on my breathing. When I'm relaxing, it's sort of my getaway, right? And that's the whole point of meditation. The more that you do it, the more that you're consistent with it, the better at it you'll get. And then you'll be able to increase your time. The more that you do it, the more that you practice it. It's important that you understand that practice makes perfect. You're not going to automatically be perfect at it if it's something you've never done. It's going to take you some time to get used to it. So those are the things that I do that are a part of my morning routine, that really help me, connect to spirit. And it's a way that these are things that I utilize to be able to see my progress in my spiritual growth and evolution. And it helps me sort of be in alignment with what it is I'm trying to create. if I'm documenting something in my manifestation journal, if I'm documenting that I want to start being financially secure, then that is within my awareness, right? So that means that I have to sort of bring to the forefront any issues, any beliefs, any concerns that I might have about not being, whether it's being worthy of being financially secure or having a fear that I won't be able to provide for myself and my family. You know, whatever it is that's going on and the things that I believe, I need those to come to the surface so that I can work through them, right? That's part of your spiritual evolution and your spiritual growth. So I hope that this was beneficial for you guys. I would really love for you all to comment down below if this was helpful for you. You know, feel free to utilize any of these tools that I might have offered to you, because I feel that they are very important to your evolution, into your growth, into discovering who you truly are and allowing you to discover your true essence of who you are to help you grow and expand further. So thank you all so much for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure spending my time with you and sharing with you all my secrets on my spiritual growth, and my tools that I utilize part of my morning routine. So thank you all so much once again. And we will see you next time. Namaste, guys.